Okay, so the previous video we talked about an overview of universal design for learning, how it's about making changes or designing the way we support learning in ways that help everyone, no matter what their preferences, what their strengths and weaknesses are. So the people who came up with this universal design for learning outlined a whole bunch of core principles that talk about how we can support all learners. And so they have this elaborate chart, but they're focused on these ideas that we have different parts of our brain that handle different parts of learning. So we have an affective network that's like the why of learning, what motivates us to learn. We have recognition, which is the what of learning, and then the how, the strategic part of your brain. I haven't read all the research on the brain science here. One thing to remember is our brain isn't actually sectioned off this cleanly. This is just a representation of this. Really, our brain works in a lot of different ways, but this seems to have some empirical support behind it. So what we do with universal design for learning is we try to have multiple means of each of these, multiple means of engagement, multiple means of representation, and then multiple means of action and expression. Okay, so we're going to break these down a little bit. So the first is this multiple means of engagement. That has to do with how we catch people's interests, how we help them continue persisting in a task and showing effort, and how we help them self-regulate their own skills. So we can do things by like providing choice. Not that we're going to change the curriculum or dumb it down, but we can say, we want to practice writing an essay. You can write about basketball, you can write about dance, you can write about nature or trees or camping to help all students pull in and become interested in their task. We can build effort and persistence through creating really clear goals or learning objectives and focusing on like mastery learning, where students can track and identify when they've mastered a concept. And then we can also work on like personal coping strategies with self-regulation and help people engage in like self-assessment and reflection. So all those different means of engagement support everyone. All right, next one is the what of learning, the multiple means of representation. So these are the categories that the UDL folks list in this is perception, language and symbols, and comprehension. So perception, this is drawing upon, you think of those captions in the video that end up helping everyone. So we do things that help people who are blind or who are hard of hearing, and actually it helps everyone. So it's ideas like creating videos and texts and giving people the option to do both. So sometimes, I'm not always great at this, but sometimes I try to have an announcement where I have text, but I also include a video on it, given what time I have to create things. So it's that type of thing. It's providing extra resources that allow people to engage with the material in multiple ways. Language and symbols has to do with preparing for different vocabulary words or symbols that might be seen in a text or that might be part of a curriculum. So instead of assuming that all students will know key terms, we deliberately spend time just reviewing key language and symbols ahead of time to support them in their learning. And that's similar to comprehension. Like we can provide background information before we teach a lesson. We can highlight patterns and big ideas. And these things help everyone. Okay, the last one is multiple means of action and expression. So this can apply to physical action, like how to actually write something or type on a keyboard. So there's a lot of assistive technologies that can help with this. But really, if you create opportunities for multimedia assignments, like students can give a speech about something, or they can write, or they can create a video, that will help everyone with differing physical action abilities be able to be successful. And that goes along with expression and communication. We have many different modes for students to show their learning. They don't always have to write an essay. They can create a video. They can give an oral report. They might create a slideshow about something or a website. Allowing them to choose their method of action and expression can help build that motivation, that engagement, and help them communicate their learning. And then executive function is things like goal setting and planning and managing resources. So it goes along kind of with that motivation element earlier with the engagement and the persistence. So we want to have clear goals, help students manage when they get to those goals. Okay, so that's multiple means of, let's just review them. We have engagement, interest, effort, persistence, and self-regulation. Representation, which is the what. Perception, language and symbols, comprehension, that's what type of materials we provide. And action and expression, what the students can produce or share and how they do that. Okay, so key takeaways from Universal Design for Learning. First is the average learner does not exist. Everyone has different strengths and weaknesses, and we can support all learners by designing for everyone from the beginning. Thanks for listening.